Welcome to PTG TV. This is your host, Antonio Hicks, aka Escaping the Matrix, with my co-host Jersey, and welcoming back Marlena in a discussion about what we're willing to risk it off for. See, I'm about to risk up my language and talking. So let me set it up for you. So we all grow with negative connotations of, what you have to risk in life in order to become successful. For example, you reflect on back in your years in college, where you run the streets after class, but right before finals, you got to stop cold turkey so you can get your studies done because you don't want to risk that college education or what your parents are paying for and eventually, get in trouble for that. Or you're starting a business and you risk a loss of sleep or investment retirement funds just invest towards your business to get it going. And some of those things are temporary sacrifices, but what are some of the things that you all are willing? See, I can't even get it out. What is willing?
I do that
whisk,
to you, man.
not
I
whisk.
have that effect on people. Keep
Risk
saying it.
all for her. Yeah, we about to whisk it all. Bugs Bunny.
That's all.
You want to go up first, John, Mister? I play cards and
Absolutely.
shot up the casino.
We're talking about like risk and all, and actually, you're talking to a guy that actually used to play cards for a living. I used to play poker for a living, for a couple of years.
The competitive poker where they have on TV and stuff.
Well, it started years ago. It was just right before the boom. Like I always say, like Rounders. If you ever seen that movie, great movie, Matt Damon, Ed Norton. And it wasn't glamorous. Like it wasn't like the fun stuff you see on TV now. It was before that, where it's like after hours restaurants, you're playing all night long, and you see the dawn come up, that sort of thing. Closed businesses, and with a bunch of cash on the table. So like I definitely have a little experience when it comes to that sort of thing. And hell, my name's Jersey. I'm right up the road from Atlantic City, so and I always had a guy. If you need a guy, I got one. So like when it comes to risk, you're talking about risk in all kinds of ways, and whether it be
what was the biggest thing you risked? Like how much money did you risk at one point in time?
In a single hand is a couple $1,000s. It's actually how I bought my first car. So
what is it like? You had a couple of thousand, that's all you had in the account, or this is what was your highest risk
on the table? Like it was a couple $1,000s that I did not have.
Okay,
put that way.
Yeah, I'm getting it because I'm like, hey, is it really a risk if you still got like five G's in the account, or that's what you need to survive off of? That's rent, that's mortgage payments, that's everything.
It was everything. It was like for food, that sort of thing. But I was always lucky, like my system. So I had a bunch of people, and so I was big on taking markers. So like in the if we're talking about like the true gambling world, and now you're talking about risk in life, but like if you're talking about the gambling world, like it's where your credit is good. Like your word means everything. That's the one thing that's kind of one of those misconceptions if you're actually talking in that kind of world, which we're talking about now, is that it's kind of seedy and it's underground, but it's not like that at all. Like if you're not a trustworthy cat, like then you're not participating at all.
It's almost your credit.
Trustworthy cat.
It's everything. Yeah, if your word is everything. So you can, if you had a couple $1,000s sitting in front of you at a table, you can leave and come back and it won't be touched. Because if you're known as someone who steals or cheats or anything else, and you just can't play.
You ever had to risk your life?
They were never had to risk my life, but there was definitely dangerous situations. So if this kind of world where like back alley stuff where that's where cash is, so you have to have security, and so like there's always people around. Like you gotta be careful if it's a known game. There's always some secret, very very hush hush. Not because it wasn't even the law that we're worried about. It was more of like being robbed. So again, it's all cash. So you have a pile of cash that's on a table. So you have to be worried about people robbing you. That was the thing, But then you have in Jersey where you have the guy that were the envelopes and like betting, actually like a bookie guy type thing. Everyone was so well known that was still very safe. So like you're under the protection of other folks. But when it comes to risk, I never really felt that, but it was more of monetary. I was young and dumb and stupid, and so my thing, I was always smart with that sort of thing. When I prepaid for rent and prepaid, so if I ever had a bad month, it's okay. Like I've always had like 3 months ahead of time on like a lot of those bills, and I still try to do that to this day, where it's like personal insurance. So you're talking about like risk. Like we all have a risk, whether it be whatever job we have. Like if you lose your job today, oh God, like how do I pay rent? How do I get food? And so we all have to do our own version of risk management. And so
Hey
one of the
man,
things I did was prepay
not
for a
beneath
lot
me
of
to
those
get into a
expenses.
strip club.
What's that?
I said it's not beneath me to get into a strip club.
Yeah,
I think my biggest one for me is I risk sleep when I decided to have kids. That's one of the biggest. I mean, I had a lot. But recently, that's one that still affects me to today. That wasn't temporary. That still affects me today. I get no sleep. None.
no. What about in your personal life, like risking security with what you are and what you're comfortable with and moving on forward with that? Like, so making major life decisions and risking, and like you said, gambling, but do you consider yourself a gambler with an addiction of gambling? Um, you said that you're able to like organize it so it didn't come to that, but you still would invest, or I say invest because you're not investing when you're risking, are you? Or you risk, or you could take it both ways. Am I going to make an investment and I'm risking savings and hope that this investment's going to turn out? So, little risks in life, like money, like, are you talking little risk? Or are you talking about even just emotional, physical risk? Like if I go up to somebody and kiss them, I'm risking my relationship with my husband. Like if I just walk up with somebody, there's what category of risk and what are you willing to risk for that
I mean,
moment of
That's like the
satisfaction?
most random. You would walk up and kiss a stranger. That would be I mean, that ain't just a risk of your husband. That's a risk of catching
Yeah, I'm
something
just
from
saying,
the.
like, so, like, if you're drunk in a bar and you're just getting super drunk and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do it. I don't care. Well, you're going to take that upon your risk, or you're feeling yourself in that moment. You said young and dumb. A lot of young and dumb, people do that. They take
absolutely.
risks in life that affect their future. So when you talk about risk, I'm going to smoke this joint. Is it going to affect me in the future? Well, if you're probably running for policy, if you're running for politics back in the day, it probably would. Nowadays, maybe not so much because it's legalized. But if you got caught doing coke or something, and somebody, that's a risk you're going to take. That's going to, affect your future.
I think you hit the nail on the head on a lot of different ways. When we talk about risk, like I've we all risk something every day, and so like even where it's a risk for change, as you pointed out, right? So it could be risk for change of the good. So
Yeah.
like even for like the worst case scenario of like, all right, like you're talking about like doing drugs and like I quit doing drugs. Well, that's gonna change your life, or even like abusive relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if you're in an abusive relationship, you're like, it should be obvious to all of us, like, oh God, you get out, get out, get out, but then you're risking with the known of the daily life,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, the comfortable. So like I saw a video going viral here in Texas. It's a military guy. He was beating up on his fiance or wife or significant other in a video, and he actually works out at these gyms and he does these, I guess, fitness, like fighting things, karate. I don't know exactly, but the point is he was caught on video. And like I said, risk of being in that relationship. Maybe she was afraid to leave her security of what she thought was security or love. There's a risk. Like, am I willing to risk something else? What was he willing to risk? Nothing, obviously, by beating the crap out of her. Um, so it comes to a question of, like you said, how much are we willing to risk, and do we even notice what we're risking? Are we conscious to that decision when we're doing it in the moment?
I think in this new chapter, I don't think people really think about that because let's look at what his name, Jay Morant, whatever his name is, the basketball player
Uh-huh.
that wants to be so hard, and his latest his latest Instagram live, he like this dude literally has a $200 million contract. Well, he had one because he's been suspended indefinitely. He had a
Uh-huh.
$200 million contract, come from a two-parent stable household, urban kid. Parents made sure that he went to all his basketball practice and everything. Had a father present in his life, actually present in his life, but he wanted to live for the streets, and so much so that his latest Instagram, in which it got him suspended, he went live with a gun and was like singing a rap song pointing a gun. But come to find out, he was in training facilities and no weapons are allowed within the training facilities. And he got suspended. And I'm like, was it worth it all? Was it worth that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Is
because
it
why
worth it?
would you want to be, if you made it out, I don't care if you know, come from a middle class family, it takes a lot for a middle class family to become a wealthy family. You made it out of that to become super wealthy, you $200 million in your account. And well, you had a contract and you risk it all for a life to be portrayed as a thug on the streets.
It's
Yeah.
everyone has those risks, like, and everyone has risks in
Yeah.
these circumstances, risk of life. I used to live in a place called St. Simon's Islands. It's very affluent, a lot of people, and I used to call them the princes of St. Simon's, because if you look around, almost every business, dad risked everything
Mhm.
years ago, 40, 50 years ago, put everything on the line and developed a business over the course of decades, and junior's taken over. And so you look at dad has all the rest, like he really had nothing, and then created a business. And son is, well, what's he risking? Like the son's like he's got the stability, he's got a already made business, and so there's actually a risk there where it's like risk averse, where like I already have this, even if I don't want to be follow my dad's footsteps, even if I don't want to run this business, it's right there, ready for me. It's stable, ready to go. I have a living, don't have to worry about it. Even if I wanted to do something completely different, right? So then people are like, that's where you almost like again avoiding the risk, because you already have something in your hands.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your
I actually got a
security,
good
you're
story about
comfortable.
that. Mr. Matt Wilborn. I don't know if y'all know who that is. He's one of the first black guys here in Atlanta. Well, he's not from Atlanta, but he's here in Atlanta. That's got the purchase a McDonald's, like one of the first African Americans to ever purchase a McDonald's. And he owns half the businesses within Hartsfield Jackson Airport, along with vending machines and stuff. So I interviewed him at Atlanta Technical College for their Black History Month celebration. And I don't want to put his business out there, but I want to put some of his business out there. He was like, this dude is like a multi-millionaire. He has a successful business that's really running on his own. Only thing you have to do is just, refill the vending machines, make sure the contracts are still good to go, and make sure stuff open up on time within the airport, and that's it. He has two boys, and this is good to go to what you were talking about, Jersey. Neither one of them want to take over the business. Neither one of them want to have anything to do with the business at all. They walk
Yeah.
away from it.
My oldest, well, I hadn't told y'all, but I have a stepson who's, like I said, well, I just mentioned it. My husband's first kid. And we were at that. He knows everything. He knows how to do all of every trait. And we keep telling him it's his time to take over. If he didn't have any other plans as far as college or anything else, that it's okay to start like taking on more contracts and crews and doing it all for himself, because we want to give him this business.
Mhm.
And he's like, no, I still want to go to the army. I'm like, okay, all right. So
Huh?
he still has his mind. Yeah, like he wants to go to the army. Like I have no idea where his mentality or thought is, but he's gonna come back for 6 months with us. But he doesn't want the business, and our business is very successful as well. We're able, like I said, I've just turned 39 and I don't work. I haven't worked for years. And my husband is looking to retire soon so that we can, you know, do whatever it is retired people do at a young age, enjoy it.
Start another business.
So yeah, start another business. That's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to open up a gym. So he doesn't want it. And remember, we were talking about generational wealth and property. We had the discussion too. And I don't mean to put business out there either, but my father-in-law is very wealthy. He was an electrical engineer for ExxonMobil. He's got a lot of acres in Austin, which is very hard to come by, especially when it still has deer and turkey coming on the land. And Jeff often talks about not wanting the property or wanting to take care of it, just giving it to his sister. And I mean, it's worth a pretty penny.
Mhm.
And remember, we talked about that. I said, well, sometimes we don't want to burden our offspring with that, even if it is wealth. There's, you were talking about that risk. Those kids didn't want it. And maybe they saw what the work went into it and didn't want that headache, because there's a lot of work that goes into private businesses and businesses. There's
Ah.
risks you take to make them work. Like sometimes, like with our business, or sometimes if you don't have contracts in place, then you're going to risk not having work for 3 or 4 months. And that's usually during the winter time. So if you're a small business, if you're not making those contracts, or, then you're risking that. And if you're not saving up, like he said, like Jersey said, for the future, or you're making those preparations so that if you want to still do these things or take these other risks, you're still caught up with bills. And it's hard to have that balance if, well, one, you don't take any risk. Do you want to do it? Because you need to, it's a risk you're willing to take. Do I want to pursue my career, or do I want to take on my father's business?
And
I mean,
you talk about time too, right? We're like,
yeah.
never mind, like, all right, well, if I take over this business, like that's time. I'm
Yeah,
risking my
it's something
time.
totally, that's not what I want to do in life.
I want to do this, but if I do this, which is like what taking over the business, like I'm risking losing what I want to do for what's in the hand.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see that differently though. That's why I was going because I mean I know what it took for I know what it takes to get a business going. I mean I understand it 100%, but I
Mm-hmm.
think once it's time for like the next generation to take over, so your kids take over. To
Mm-hmm.
me, the bulk of the hard work has already been done. It's just maintaining what's there and establishing new connections. But to me, all the legwork has already been put into place.
And if they've not been there to see the legwork or know how the legwork works, and you just give it to them and they don't know how the business is ran, then they're going to have hell. So if
Oh
I
yeah.
threw my kid into the project, they didn't know shit about carpentry or plumbing or electrical work, then the business is nothing to him. He's going to go down the drain anyway. So
Absolutely.
do they have an interest in the business? Do they have an interest in pursuing that type of, whatever it is? So they always say, if you're doing what you love, you never work a day in your life. So that's my concept to my kids. I want you to focus on something you want to do in life because I want you to enjoy that so that you're never working a day in your life. You're just creating something every single day that you're proud of. And if I'm just pushing off my career, like an attorney, and I expect my kid to be an attorney, and I push him to, oh, you're going to go to law school and you're going to do this and you're just, but yet I've built this huge firm. And guess what? He doesn't want to practice law. He doesn't want to be an attorney. Then all that work and pushing, I could have put that effort into something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like, it's like you're risking their future too to become what they want to be.
I mean, that's why I kind of like even when we talk because see what y'all get making this serious. I wanted this to be like a little fun episode.
We
Even
can talk
with
You
about
be
gambling if you
going
want.
on the dollar store, be like, oh,
I'm
Go
he's
back
like
to
going to
saying,
the
finance.
strip
wow.
club throwing those bills. He's like, I'm risking all my money. He's
Man,
like,
I was like, I just want to make this lighthearted because typically all we genuinely talk about is like serious stuff. Man, Jesus Christ.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I mean
A
John did it too, but
philosophical.
I mean even with my boys, because I'm like I'm a security engineer. Well, I was a network engineer, and I'm a security engineer, and I try to get them started like at an early age. Do the same thing my dad taught me. I had them in
Mm-hmm.
programming classes, and I mean they did great in it. I taught them how to build computers and stuff, and they did
Mm-hmm.
that. But they was like, this shit is not for me, and
Right.
they don't want to do it.
So if you built a career in a multi-million billion-dollar business over whatever, your career, your what you're able to do, and they don't want to take it over, then they're going to be spending the rest of their lives finding people who can actually do what you did.
Well, but that's how I do stuff. That's why I can say you can still do it a little differently. So I encourage them
Yeah.
to go and find out what they love and work in what they
Yeah.
love doing. Now I do kind of disagree with that fact that saying that you working if you're doing what you love, it's not you're not really working a day in your life. I'm like shitting me. It's still a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work,
Mm-hmm.
even when you're doing stuff that you love. But I would tailor my business if it came to management. I would tailor my business around my boys, what they're passionate about, and then
So
have
doing what they love.
yeah, and then have it the other end of it that's making money managed by somebody. But see, that's leadership. That's you preparing. Okay, I know what their strengths are. Let me generate
Mm-hmm.
that for their strengths, and then let me mentor somebody else or get the other part of it set up to where it all can work cohesively together. But that's if they want to do it.
It's
Exactly. It all is if they want to do it. They want to risk their future. They want to risk, and they might not see it now or even 20 years from now. Maybe when you're good, gone and
Oh, they're
buried,
gonna
they might
see
be
it.
like, oh, I appreciate it.
They're gonna see it.
You're
Most
like, I'm gonna
kids,
make them see
most
it.
kids don't see it. Even if you're the one paying for all the stuff they have, they appreciate what you're doing for them.
Mm-hmm.
But once they hit that late 30s and early 40s, that's when they want to come back because now they're looking
Mm-hmm.
for a place of comfort. All
Mm-hmm.
right, let me go take over mom or pop's business, and then I really can relax off of that.
Well, that's what I'm trying to hope to not happen is I don't want them to have to, I want to be able to instill quality into them, whatever they want to do, so that I can help them be successful in that job or change it so that when they are in their 30s, they're not coming back. They've already got it figured out. They've already, okay, well, maybe I changed my mind, when I was like 25, whatever the case may be. I'm hoping that in their 30s at my age, they're not coming asking me for money. That they've built their wealth. Like they learn right now from saving money. They learn,
they'll be fine.
how
They'll
to
be fine, right?
they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. That's what we should teach people. That's how you should teach kids because you weren't taught how to budget up, your checkbook. I mean, you probably in high school, but did you really have money in your account? If you did, you're really wealthy because I didn't have an account.
I did not.
Well, it's
So
funny.
yeah.
It's funny you say this. I'll say this because like I think I'm the only non-parent there, but I'm thinking about all the lessons I learned from my dad that was unintentional. My dad went to a job he hated, absolutely hated, full on El Bundy hate. Like, like, gotta go to work,
Yeah.
But he did it because he had a wife and kids that he was like, I gotta do this. It's stable. Absolutely. My dad was absolutely the most risk-averse person I ever met. But he did he's like, I've got food on the table. We never had to worry about food on the table. He's very overly responsible with money. And he tried to put that on me where like completely risk averse, where like you do nothing because you never know. And so you must save every dollar. Don't ever spend money on anything. I remember I took a trip to Brazil and it cost nothing, a couple $1,000. And he's like, you could have saved that money. How you're just wasting it. Like you get the rule of life is just you go to work, save, and do absolutely nothing on the weekends.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I learned not to do that.
Right.
Right?
Because
Because
tomorrow's not promised. I learned that
yeah. And so
before
like
the
it's amazing.
pandemic.
You
'Cause
never know what you're gonna learn from your parents, Like
yeah,
he didn't he taught me he taught me not to do that.
I mean, look at Enron. Like, hell, look at SVB, the SVB Bank in freaking California. See, I'm going to next topic is going to be real fun. It's like because that kind of hits home to me because I do try to save to where I have a little nest because I have been laid off before and it was scary as hell. But
Mhm.
still, it's like tomorrow's not promised. So if you save all that money up and you really don't enjoy life, like what kind of
Mhm.
quality of life do you have? Like that trip to
Mhm.
Brazil, yeah, you could have saved it, but look at the memories you gained
Oh
from
God,
it.
yeah.
So
Great
it's
stories.
oh, John, you said like you had a good time over in some.
Oh yes. And it's fun being a guy that looks like me in South America.
Oh yeah, of course. You're unique.
Yes.
You've got the accent.
It's definitely fun when we say that. But like you said, like what is life? My dad's value of life was make sure the kids were fed. That was it. That's it.
Same as
Right.
mine.
Make sure that was never a question. He never really enjoyed himself, never did anything. I'm like, but
Our
also
parents went nowhere.
I'm also looking at two parents that have those responsibilities, right? I don't have
Mhm.
any kids, so I'm going to Brazil.
You can do what you want.
Right?
Still, kids or not. I make sure. Oh my god, they take a lot of my goddamn money. Oh, they take a lot of my money.
Mhm.
But I'm still able to. I will say this: like my kid's mom, her boyfriend, whatever the hell they are, they he would look at me funny because she never came down here for because she. Well, that's not necessary, but she never
Woo.
brought the boys down here. Like I was always the one going to Michigan.
Mhm.
And he made a comment. He made a comment because he had a kid of his own too. But he made a comment one day, and he was like, he don't see how I do it. And I was like, I said, right, you don't see how I do it on top of me paying child support too. And I was like, but the thing is, you have to have a quality of life because you talking about your parents. I want to make sure that I do stuff with my kids so they can have some memories. So even regardless of all the money I was spending now, I still make sure that we was traveling and stuff so they will understand what it means to still you can work and you can play hard, but make sure you have some fun throughout life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And everything's a risk.
I
Just going to Brazil is a risk. That was like,
Yeah.
it's not a safe place, right?
No, it is not. It's a
We
risk and you
have
better have fun too.
yeah, we have an open invitation to Nepal. All expenses paid so that we could spread word for, women's, I guess, women's health care. And this individual has just been asking me to go and asking me to go, but I'm so afraid. So like talk about risk. I'm afraid to go to Nepal for a month. And I get it, just like you said in Brazil, someone like myself down, in Nepal you're almost like a celebrity,
By yourself?
but I would not go by myself. It's an
Oh,
open invitation for my entire family, but I don't want to take my
oh,
kid. Like I'm afraid to take my kids there. Plus, I'm afraid of flying. That's a whole nother thing I'm afraid to do is
that's right. You
risk.
did say that, yeah.
So like flying and all that other stuff scares me. So that takes on a whole new level of risking. And when you talk about vacation and taking my kids out, I did at the very beginning start to take them, but they don't like the travel. Like just even in Texas, we started off small, and I thought, well, then we'll do like car travel trips, back in the day where you stop at every other place, stop in Roswell, so, whatever. But they just don't like the drive either. They're just like, we don't, that's fine, mom. Let's create memories here. And I'm like, dude, y'all are like so cool because like I feel ashamed of myself of not wanting, like not being able to fly out of Hawaii. Like even if we have the expense to do it, my fear, and it's not even like they're okay with it. It's just that they don't even like to drive 4 hours to go to Austin, like let alone
Yeah.
do a whole full travel package and having to go, go to
Oh,
the airport, wait, travel, and it's like 2 or 3 days to get to your destination or whatever the case may be. I say 2 or 3 days, but I mean like a day or two for flying to New York or something.
And
Couple of
yeah,
hours, but
you're
it
yeah,
takes a
point, especially
process.
nowadays with flying, where it's almost like you get sexually assaulted by the TSA guys, and just like or the lotion
No,
police.
thank you. Yeah.
Um, it's
He was
interesting.
like,
wait,
where's this
what?
going?
Wait, what? When you talking about sexually assaulted by TSA? Where is this news at?
Oh no, like just like they they put they actually put their hands down my pants. They've done that before.
No.
Did they?
Oh, I've got stories in that. Like I remember I was wearing a knee brace and they like just like an ace bandage around my knee. It was years ago, and I was wearing pants, and they said, "Sir, you have to step over here." It's like okay, and like I was there for about 20 minutes, 3 minutes. Like, hey, my flight's about to go. It's like there's something suspicious on your knee. It's like, and I
No,
was like, we have to wait for a room to open up. I'm like, I got to go, and so I literally had to drop trowel right there in front of everybody.
No.
Like all the way down my ankles. It's a knee brace. Can I go now? Yes, sir. Like
oh,
okay.
I can do that. I thought you was like, they stuck their hands down your pants. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it
dang,
was
did you
the
even get a
last
happy
time
ending with that?
they actually put like their hands all the way around my pants and went all the way around. So but like the point being is like going to what Marlena's saying, like I get like flight travel nowadays is horrific. It's like it used to be okay, but now it's just it's not a pleasant experience. It's very abusive. So that's you're risking that. With travel, I'll point out something like I love traveling. Like I've actually a fear of non-English speaking countries in a way that
Oh yeah, me too though.
you
Even if I speak Spanish.
yeah, like because even Brazil, like I caught myself in a place where like I don't like that's Portuguese, and
Yeah, yeah, it's
I was
different.
with two people that spoke the language that were fluent. And one was actually a Brazilian citizen, and so but like I can't go anywhere without them because if I find
Mhm.
myself a block away, like I can't get anywhere, I can't talk to anybody. And so like a risk thing. I'm afraid to go to even just as simple as Germany or France, which I know are good, but like I'm still a little bit leery with that sort of thing. I
What's
wouldn't not ready
I
to risk
was
that.
good. I don't know where here yet. I
where
was
I would well,
every
I
country I've been to, I didn't speak a lick of their language, but
yeah, you enjoyed it. You were
I had
adventurous
fun.
for sure. I see if I had somebody who was that confident in it, I'd be okay with that.
Hmm.
My husband, like he's like I'm one of those guys, just the way he's built and look. He's like he'd be one of the ones that'd be like TSA would be like, okay, sir, can you please step to the side? They'd pull him out of the crowd just by the tattoos and the this big guy. They'd probably think,
Yep.
um, but that being said, just I don't know, just that alone, like I lost my train of thought.
It's like I've been to I lived in Ireland for a while, and I
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
London
yeah.
and the UK is that's easy. Like if someone said you want to go to London tomorrow, like yep, let's go. But like Australia, sure, they speak English, but like there's so many rich places, like awesome like cultures that I'm fascinated by. I want to go, but I'm leery because I'm just afraid
Book
of
it.
like I'm s-
Book
I'm
Book it.
it.
I did have an incident in Brazil, like we were talking about that in Rio de Janeiro, where like I was a block away from where I needed to be, and it was scary because I couldn't.
Well,
Google Translate.
well, the UK. So okay, even Google Translate. I brought my thought back now because you brought it back with the language.
Mhm.
My mom and dad, my mom and her guy, whatever he was, they went to Mexico. Talking Mexico.
Mhm.
Okay, my mom is okay with Spanish. She knows Spanish. Yeah, I would say she's pretty fluent, but she can't read it. But like when she speaks it, she understands it. She could banter, whatever. Anyways, in Mexico, the police got her and him, and they pulled them over and detained them, and then pulled him into the back of the car and demanded money. My mom couldn't translate well enough. Even if she did know Spanish, she was lost with the fluency of their Spanish. So
Right.
even if I were to go, so anyways, that being said, we ended up having. I remember another thing that scares me is that we ended up having to like Western Union her like $500 or something because they were demanding cash. And Dan was like, I don't have money on me. I don't have that kind of cash on me. And they're like, we'll go to the hotel, and she's got to stay with this person, and he's got to stay here, and we'll take him back. And my mom's like, no, no, no. So I guess they gave him everything, and I think the watch on his wrist, because it's anywhere. I don't want, or like one of those movies like Hostel, like going overseas, like to Germany or backpacking through France. I'm afraid of like a hostel and somebody like taking me down under like that scary movie and torturing me for hours. because I
Oh,
speak
I guess that's the
English.
joys of being a black guy. I never had those problems. Hell, they was fascinated by me.
Well,
I mean, that's not even just trying to be funny. It's just being for real. Like
well,
even
Well,
in
your
Israel.
age is
well, Antonio, you're looking at two high value targets right now. Like,
Yeah.
like
I mean, because when I went to Israel,
I mean,
they
look what
treated me
just
like a
happened in Mexico. Those 4 bodies were
yeah.
taken across.
and they said it was about
And they were
mistake too, though.
Yeah, and the card, yes, and then they returned back. And then you know what I heard the Mexican president saying on somebody sent it to me because I don't listen to their telecast, but he was saying that it was the United States' fault that why aren't we teaching our youth not to be using prescription drugs? That it was the fentanyl demands of our youth that were messing the cartel up. I was like, what
Uh,
the hell is you saying? I was like, that doesn't
I,
even make
I think that's
sense.
that's before the information came because that's all political. I mean, they keep messing
Yeah.
with him, so it's like he got to say something back just to get back
I
at.
know, but that doesn't even make sense. I don't even make sense. Like he's like, why does the United States have to legalize prescription pills? I'm like, dude, you can
I
go get
think that
all
we
this stuff
should.
in Mexico for free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm a big legalized guy.
yeah. I think all drugs should be illegal. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's heroin. I don't care if it's crack. Yeah, I got it on recording saying that I think all drugs should be legal. That's to me, that's how you combat the war on drugs. Make it all
Well,
legal.
just like
That's it.
marijuana, now that it's legal and they're trying to tax it and all of that, people are just kind of like, it's not a big deal. Like I say, it's not a big deal. People are acting like it's not a big deal. Still, in the state of Texas, you cannot. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
you
not legal.
where you're at is pretty brutal, but
Yeah.
that's one of those like as someone who just graduated college, like the weed one, we even take the weed that's out of the equation, like just weed, never mind heroin, crack, and all that. There, I remember I did like that was always my topic of choice. As a guy who doesn't even care for it, but there is no logical, there is no reason for weed to be illegal. Like there's no good argument. There's not, absolutely not. But that's besides the point. Like, you're still like if you're going back to risk though, like let's talk about that. Like, all right, what are you risking for if you're talking about like drugs is a big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So taking a drink is a risk, smoking a joint is a risk, doing a line is a risk. Like
I don't know about risking it all though. Now
yeah.
I've risked it all on a good night.
Have you?
I
Like,
have. Oh my god, I'm about to have a full confession on this one. So we went out one night with my friends, and first night, no, it was driving the first night. The second night, I was driving by myself. Yeah, I could have got DUI for this. We had went to the club and we were taking shot after shot after shot. We went to multiple clubs, taking shot after shot after shot. And then at the end of the night, I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like, it's time to go home. Everybody had a designated driver. I didn't have a designated driver. I drove home on my own. When I tell you I
That's a
drove
risk.
home and I was my eyes was like this. I literally had to keep my eyes open. For those that's not watching the video, I literally had to keep my eyelids open just so I could drive. Oh my God. And I had to drive. Like I live an hour away from the city. I had to drive an hour to get back home. Yeah, it was terrible.
And that's a risk, right? Where like again, and also like let's look at you and me, like you're risking more than I am. They're not gonna pull me over. Like what's the Bill Burr joke? Like I'm a white guy, man. I drive 90, they just wave at me. Like they're just
yeah, I would have
Dude,
done that.
and that's so sad that you guys are saying that because it's true.
oh yeah.
Like, um, and being a woman too, and a good-looking woman, because I'm not going to deny myself that I'm attractive,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been pulled over maybe 3 times in my life, and never once have I had a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
I've never had
I've got many tickets.
and that's what
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've got some warnings too, so I can't say that. I think I've only had the one. I told Jonah the Jersey about this. I've only had the one bad cop experience where no, I had two instances, but the last one, the one that really pissed me off, they did pull their guns on me because they had just had these 2 cops that got murdered by this guy over here in Stone Mountain, and it was a black dude. And then they pulled me over, and they all pulled their guns out on me, and I'm like, and they hadn't caught this guy yet. I'm like, why are you at your guns? Like, what the hell's going on? I had just got off of work. I'm in college. And I got I'm a store, not even store manager. What was I? It's like a shift supervisor at Office Max. So
He was a
those that
shoe
don't know
manager.
Office Max back in the day, you had to wear like a shirt and tie to be a supervisor. So I'm driving with a shirt and tie with my apron on. They pulled me over, and I was like, dude, I just got off of work. What the hell are you pulling me over? I wasn't even speeding. They put me for a broken tail light, but they ran my numbers for like my background check for like 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes.
Dang.
And they come back to the car, and I was like, what the hell is taking y'all? So I literally went off. I was stupid. I was like, I went off. And I was like, what you think we back here doing, like playing games? I said, I don't know, you may be playing a Game Boy or whatever. I said, sure as hell, I'm not giving me a goddamn ticket. Give me a ticket.
But it's an interesting thing though. Like right there, like you and I are risking, like we have different risks, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm a speeder. I'll go and tell you, but I probably wouldn't be if I looked like you, Antonio. Right?
I
Oh
still do.
my
I
gosh.
street
Now,
race too.
do you really?
I did. I know I did
I'm a
street
no.
race. I
I've been
did street
in
race.
I don't know what it is about me and huge machinery like that. It frightens me. I've been in, or I just have bad luck because I have been in too many accidents that were not mine. So speeding is not in my vocabulary. Now, the times that I got pulled over is because I was driving like from Austin to my hometown, and it's like a 2-hour drive, and I wanted to get there quickly. And I will give one time I needed to pee super bad, and the second time I didn't know that all the lights in Fredericksburg, Texas, turn red flashing at night. They turn them just to like flashing red lights.
Stop signs. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Now we was flying through them, and the cops in Fredericksburg were like,
There you go.
I was like,
And you still didn't get a ticket.
I'll tell you what I did. I said I had my driver's license in the trunk, and I went and got my driver's license out the trunk. But I was probably 2 sheets to the wind too.
And you still didn't get a ticket. Pretty privilege.
I've talked myself out of those situations, and like I said, we're talking about the racial bias, which is obvious, like, but there are different risks. Like, you talk about like even just true tragedies like Ahmaud Arbery, which was back in Brunswick when he just got shot because
Getting too serious, John.
right? Like
You're getting too serious, John.
Yeah.
Bringing that stress level up, John.
Yeah.
You about to bring the stress level up.
Sorry.
you getting too serious.
But like, just talk about risk. It's just like we all talk about different ways. Everything is a risk, but even getting insurance is a risk.
Yeah, but my whole thing with this,
your premiums that or mitigating risk, but it's still a risk.
Would you so bag of money fall out a truck?
I turn it in.
Really?
That's the kind of person I am. Even if the cops are crooked, I turn it in.
A bag of money that falls out of a truck, like a bag,
because it's probably stolen.
Like Bugs Bunny with a dollar sign on it, like
I don't care if it's a paper bag.
No,
I don't care if it's a plastic bag.
As someone who was actually kind of almost witnessed this, like I think what Marlena said is very true.
I witnessed it, so I'll second you on that story whenever. Remind me.
Like I tell you what, if it's a wallet, turn it. That's
I turn a wallet in. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like I do remodeling, right? And one time we were remodeling and we had to move all the furniture. And this couple had just went through a divorce, and she told us the whole story. And we were painting so she could move out of the condo. And when we moved the sofa, there was one of those yellow legal envelopes, thousands. I bet you there was like $20,000 in there. And I saw the envelope and I was like, Jeff, I said, this is what she was talking about. They got a divorce over that money, and it was all underneath the couch. I found the money.
But if you took it, though, I mean, they would know that
what if I took it? Exactly. What if I took it? They got a divorce over it, and nobody would have known. I would have taken it, but that would have been on my conscience, and I couldn't have handled that.
Well, that's where
steal.
That's where you know exactly where this is going. Like this is like itchy or scratchy. It's one of these two.
Yeah, you know about that. I'm talking about
like Antonio. Like I find like a bag of money like fell off a truck in the street. I tell you right now, like I'm taking it home.
I'm taking it home.
I'm gonna wait it out, and I'm gonna put my ear down. I'm not gonna spend a dime. Because if that's going nowhere good.
Anything that falls off the truck is probably stolen from the bank, or it was probably an armored truck. Any of that money, I worked in the bank industry for years when I first started my whole whatever I'm going to do in life. And anything that they take, like the money in the drawer, if they took it from the drawer, the serial numbers are all recorded. Right. So even if you were to get that money, you were going to get in trouble for it anyway. Even if say I found it, you were going to get in trouble for it. A lot of the banknotes sometimes get blasted. So are you still going to keep that money if it's blasted with an ink cartridge?
Oh, that's
so there's a lot of stuff like, how is that money going to come to be there? It had to come from somewhere, obviously. Or is it dirty money, like somebody's Coke money, and that was a whole stack of bag? Do you still want that money?
Well, it's going nowhere good, right? If you find a bag of money, it's one of two places. It's going nowhere good.
It's a stripper's bag. It's a stripper's duffel bag.
It's going into it ain't going to my bank account. It's going in the backyard.
Oh
Which
yeah.
one? Okay, Chapo, not Chapo. What's his name? What was that stupid fool's name?
Hey man, we gotta start burying money. You see all these banks crashing now. You gotta start withdrawing your money out and burying it somewhere.
Escobar.
Oh,
Yes, he
Escobar,
was
yeah.
burying barrels, and his relatives just recently found some in an apartment that was his, and they're renovating, so they had to tear all the walls down, but they couldn't use any of the money. They had to go to the authorities.
Right. Well,
There's a way
that's a
around
whole
that.
different thing. We're like, yeah,
So
There's a way
around
around that.
politicians
oh yeah,
speaking.
yeah, like you
There's a
want to
way.
talk about like corruption, like with the DOJ and
Yeah,
everything. Like,
there's a way around that. You can wash money. You can if it's
When
tracked
you
or
say
not, you
wash money, I
can.
literally think of putting it in the dish in the washer machine.
it's like even just going to the casino. Like actually, that's a way to that's actually we're talking about gambling before. Go to a casino. That's a very common way to wash money, right?
Yep.
It's
Ozarks.
you know
Remember that?
you buy chips, and the key is you buy less than 10,000.
Yep.
Yeah,
I have a friend of mine did that.
because you don't have to report 10,000, right?
No,
At the casino.
just take a road trip to Vegas.
Yeah,
Take a road trip to Vegas.
as
If
long
I'm
as you
losing
know.
your money,
Everywhere.
I have a buddy of mine, like he would, he was a big hitter, and he would like, you know, I remember going to Vegas, and he said, and we do around, we go to every like, you know, 6 or 7 casinos, and he cash in $9,900 at each casino because that's hidden and it's not reported at all.
Yeah.
Well, once you hit the $10,000 mark, then everyone knows about it, and then you sign papers and stuff.
Hey man, everybody got a little dark side in them. I got a little the dark side in me. I ain't all the way Jedi.
dark side.
I'm not all the way Jedi.
So if you found money, Antonio, you're taking us all on vacation because you got to spend it quickly.
I'll say it again. You said it the Spanish way too. Say my name again.
Antonio.
That's a boy. I loved her. I loved it when I went to the Dominican Republic. Boy, I got so many perks from that.
I'm telling no.
And then you're like,
I got an upgrade for my flight back. Everything, dude. Just from my
and then
name.
you're like, no hablo
like,
español. No hablo
yes.
español.
I love it.
Perdón.
I love it. That's privilege right there. I will say we don't have that in the Black community at all. At all.
It's well, you know, we talk about risk. That's the thing. Like talking like going back to the gambling risk. Then you know, it's a weird thing for me. Where like looking at like actual gambling, where that's obviously that's the forefront of the word risk, and how it's strangely illegal. Like where would you stand on that? Like whether it be sports betting or poker, which is illegal. Like what yet? You know, you have the lottery, which is built on losers.
Not me. I mean, because I told you I street raced. I mean, that's highly illegal. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
I didn't care about that at all. Like that was fun. I like a good high. But I risked I risked my life for somebody. Well, just to go and see somebody. Somebody I met, it was cool. Like I met him from work. And I was like, they lived down in Pensacola, Florida. And we were just going to meet up just to go hang out or whatever.
Antonio was a flight risk.
No, I drove. I drove. And I drove in the middle of the night on top of it too, going through the backwoods of Mississippi, going through. I don't know if you ever driven to Pensacola.
In privacy, like, because then you wanted to do this incognito or something, or?
No. I mean, it was because I didn't fly. I wasn't flying back then. I wanted to drive because to me is a lot. I'm a road warrior. Like if I can get there on a car, I'd rather drive and get a scenic route than fly. It depends on my mood that day.
Oh, you and I both.
Back then, I would drive everywhere. And they were like, yeah, let's hang out in Pensacola. So I was like, all right. I didn't tell my parents about that. I think I was 21. I drove down there, going through Mississippi, these back roads. Mississippi and Black people don't mix. It was no street lights back there. It was like,
You're risking even more.
That's why I said I risked my life. My life. It was foggy, so you couldn't even see through the fog and stuff. And I think I pulled up at their house. It was like 2:00 in the morning.
Ooh.
I would never.
Was she at least there?
Yeah, she was there. Yeah.
Okay. Because like these catfish nowadays, you drive so many.
No, it wasn't. And then yes.
It's like this.
I know what Marlena's insinuating. It was not to smash. It was not to smash. Like it legitimately was like hanging out for friends. There was no smash and grab going on.
Remember what was it? Plenty of Fish. My cousin used to be on that. Plenty of Fish. I don't think that's what it was. I think it's like a matching site.
No, Plenty of Fish is a dating site, but it says like it's a Christian dating site.
Yep. Okay, well, I don't know. I'd never done it, but that's what my cousin was on. And one time he said that he was in Austin and he hooked up with one of the girls, or was going to hook up with one of the girls he was chatting with. He said he pulled up to the convenience store and watched her get out to go inside. And then he took off because it wasn't what he thought it was going to be. I was like, you're so sorry.
It's
You
it's
have
a
to.
risk, right?
I mean,
he's like, we've been chatting this entire time. He's like, she's hot. I know she's hot. I guess the filters were like really awesome back then.
they didn't like.
But
Well, I guess not FaceTime. They didn't like video chat.
I don't think you could do that back in the day. Like we're
What's back in
talking
the
like
day?
2005, 6.
Yeah, they had it. It was low grain. It was pixelated, but you still
Yeah.
could do it.
It wasn't a real thing.
Well, us common folk didn't have access to technology like you guys did.
2005.
Dude, we had
2005 wasn't that long ago.
2005 was still no 2005. It was
That's-
still T3 texting or whatever, like
Oh,
like
that was
Nokia.
a razor.
man.
Like, you
I
didn't
love
have an
That was
advanced phone.
BlackBerry days.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
That was like little bitty phone, like as small of the phone you could get, the cooler it was.
Yeah. Oh,
No smartphones yet.
You know, little bitty springs like this.
Yeah. That was the Motorola, the Motorola flip days.
Hell yeah, that was the Razor,
That's what I
the
had.
pink Razor days. I think, yeah, that was.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, you got me.
What was my other? I do have one major risk that I would risk it all today for. Like we had a
What's
standing joke in the office. Oh, it's terrible. I don't even know if I
Did you
should
slap
say
your
this on
mama for
video.
$1 million?
I slapped the hell out of my mama for $1 million. Yeah, I sure would.
You're gonna go with that shit.
I would slap the hell out of my mom for $1 million. I would slap the hell out of my mom.
I do it.
You do it for $1 million? You
For $1
slap your
million?
mom?
Hell yeah. I'd be like, Mom, I'm sorry, and I slap the hell out of her.
I've got my
I would
relationship
slap
with
the
mom,
hell out of her.
and my mom has actually since passed. But
Okay, but she doesn't have. But she doesn't know. She doesn't know it's coming.
It don't matter. I still slap the hell out of her.
Yeah.
I would slap the hell out of my mom.
I go backhand. Like,
Yep.
Y'all are horrible.
I'll give her a
I'm
two-piece.
gonna call your mama. I'm like, she needs a hug. Y'all are mean.
I can slap her and I go slap my dad too. I slap the hell out of both of them.
you bring out like another interesting thought experiment. The old the life-changing cabbage. What's your limits, right? You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
committing crimes to like.
So what
Like-
would you risk it all for $10 million?
right, for $10 million?
$10 million. What would you do for $10 million?
Almost anything. You do sex tape. I don't care.
He said sex tape for $10 million. If it was with Jeff Goldblum, I'm sorry, baby, if you're hearing this.
So John,
If it was Jeff
I'm about to
Goldblum
get
for $10
real.
million.
$10 million. I would do sex. I'm
I'm about to get real personal. So you a heterosexual man,
Yes.
another man for $10 million.
Guess
Oh,
what? That's life-changing cabbage. That's no problem. I can get over that in a day.
So that was
but
the
you're
money.
on the receiving end, my guy.
I tell you what, for sex, I'll do for $5 million. For 10, you can tape it.
That's why. So in the office, so we had this running thing in the office, and we were talking about what was our limits, like what would we do.
Right.
So that's why I said that's where the 10 came from. I was like, they said, what would you risk it all for $10 million?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, you can, yeah, I don't care what y'all call me. Y'all can, yeah, I know whoever hear this, you can get on Twitter or whatever and call.
If you want to give me $10 million, you know what I'm willing to do.
Right.
I mean, it's not any. Yeah, I mean,
call me whatever you want to call me, but for $10 million is life changing.
That's life changing.
You can smack my cheeks and everything. I don't care. $10 million, I will get a therapist, and I will be enjoying life talking to my therapist. I don't care. I won't kill anybody though. I won't kill anybody for $10 million. I'm saying if it's like something like that, like if it's something intimate or whatever, $10 million, man, $10 million is life changing.
It's you find all these risks like the famous bet. Like again, I still follow some of the poker guys, and I love gambling books, and I'm finding fascinating like a little twist. It's like that guy that bet another dude $500,000 to get breast implants.
I remember
Oh,
that.
no, that's not enough for me. Not breast implant. No,
Yeah, I'm like so that seems low to me.
Yeah, that's way too low.
Do you guys watch Bro Chat
Uh-uh.
with Guy Sisternino and Fu? Okay, bodybuilding. Anyways, Bro Chat's a bunch of dudes that get on. They talk about this, and they always have this conversation, or they'll make bets for like the upcoming bodybuilding shows. And like, so like if one of them loses, like this past show was the Arnold and the loser was supposed to get their nipples pierced and keep it in for a month, for 30 days.
For how much?
So it was that was just being the loser. It was no money involved. So just like being the loser just by your word. So you're talking about getting breast implants for $10 million. Like
a nipple piercing is not bad though. I mean, I can do a nipple piercing. That's
for like
that's
4 weeks. For 4 weeks.
That's not serious to me. I can do a nipple piercing. That's easy.
Yeah.
I have no.
Like,
so first of all, when I have no feeling in my chest whatsoever from boxing, like literally, it's like I know somebody touching me, but I have literally no feeling in my chest from getting beat in my chest so much. So a nipple piercing, easy peasy.
Yeah. But you bring out like that's the thing is like that's a risk where like tattoos is a big risk, right? Where like but that's permanent. Like
yeah,
and
tattoos too.
also
Like when Jake Paul and what's his name were fighting. Y'all watch UFC? Am I breaking
that's
up?
Oh
no, I
yeah,
know it's not about.
yeah.
I'm just trying like I'm trying to think who the other guy was. I know exactly what you're talking about though.
It was that African American dude. What's his name? He's not even he's a boxer.
I'm stuck on
No, he's
Kimbo
not a
Slice.
boxer.
I
He's
know
a
that's not
UFC
right.
fighter. That's not
I
Kimbo
love
Slice,
I
but he
love
was
Kimbo.
Tebow. Is it
Yeah.
Tebow? No, I don't know. Anyways, the bet was that he was supposed to get his name on his body someplace.
For losing?
I don't think he
No,
ever
I
did that.
can't do that.
For losing.
No, I can't do
For
that.
losing.
That's not enough of
It
work.
was like because they kept talking about it for a while. Like one of the Logan Paul or Jake Paul, one of the brothers
Jake Paul,
fought
because he's the
him,
one that fights.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't.
yeah, and that was that.
If
So
I
like
got if I negotiated a contract the way Floyd did, then I would do it. Because Floyd negotiated where even if he lost, Floyd still got $15 million, 15 to
oh
$20
yeah,
million.
yeah. He's actually is awful one of the worst people that's
He's
ever existed.
partners.
But he's a phenomenal. He's a
Oh, you want
very
his
smart.
money?
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't he partner with them to create the new alliance or whatever that is? The new, I say federation, but
I don't know.
like a
I know
union, like to
that
create
was
some
one
sort
of
of
his
union.
largest checks. But yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, they created some sort of union, so like the fighters, UFC fighters, would be able to get better health care, get better say in what their pay was because they're
Right.
getting paid like diddly squat.
Oh,
And
they're
he
getting
was
completely
proving,
screwed.
yeah, and he was talking about how just in one of his shows he was making that much money, and he's just an upcoming amateur. So he made this. I don't have my other phone, so I can look it up. He made like an organization, so like a union, I guess, right, for the fighters.
Yeah, I heard it was in the works. Like you just want to be like this, so you have collective bargaining, right? So
What?
that like
Yeah,
that
what's that dude's
standardized
name?
pay, that sort of thing. Yeah.
What's his name from the UFC guy?
Dana
Not
White?
Rogan. Dana White, yes, is pissed off about it. It'll be against Dana White's
Right.
organization.
Dana
Dana
White's a
White
dick.
has the biggest organ thingy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so there we
UFC.
go. Yeah.
He's a
He is the
dick.
biggest. I guess you call it an organization. He is a dick.
He's an
I
Yeah,
don't
he's
awful.
the
like
one that
Dana White.
started UFC. Well, so he
Yeah, but they
bought
don't get money
UFC
for it.
from somebody else because it
He thinks
used
the
to
old white
be.
Don King. I mean, he's just bad. He's an awful
Yeah,
person.
he's terrible. He's terrible.
You know.
Yeah.
It's well, like
But there's a risk there. There's your risks.
yeah, you point out actually a good point. Like whether it be workers like are risking to organize, right? Where like oh, we might lose my job, or like I think I told the story like this is 20 years ago where I had a good job in a restaurant and someone got fired, and he was trying to collect unemployment, and they said the I saw the manager fire him. And like, so he's like, all right. And so he tried to get unemployment. And the manager then changed the story, said, oh no, like he walked out. So they wouldn't have to pay unemployment. And like, I was like, that's he brought it to me. And at the time I didn't have any money. And he's like, will you like testify? I was like, well, I'm scared for my job. I'm risking my job supporting you. And it's still a regret to this day I didn't help him out. Like, because like I was scared for my job. I was risking my job to do the right thing, you know?
I think we all are like that. I mean, because especially when it comes to corporations, because nobody wants to. They say there is no such thing that you can't retaliate, and it's an HR policy against it. That's lies. That's cap. They always retaliate. I've always seen them retaliate against people that come out and help the victim.
Oh, look at Wells Fargo. Like they had tens of thousands of people, like employees, like try to come out and say, "Dude, you're doing screwed up stuff. Like you're signing all these customers on ghost bank accounts and doing all this like awful things." And 10,000 those 10,000 people, every one of them that came out tried to say, "Hey, this is some evil stuff." They all got fired. They all got screwed.
I ended up getting a check from Wells Fargo for like $400 because they charged all those crazy freaking fees.
Oh, he's part of it.
Yeah, I was part of it. I didn't know that though. They called me out of the blue and they're like, "Ma'am, this is Wells Fargo. We shows that we have a check, but you've not cashed it, and we sent it out to you like in August." I'm like, "Dude, I didn't get no check." And they like verified my address, and I was like, "They're like, let me send another one out to you." And I thought it was just all a big joke.
I mean, that's how
But
y'all
sure
know people
enough,
got good credit. They keep opening up all these accounts.
They
they
without
got 800 plus credit.
and signing them up for like insurances that they didn't ask for and charging all these things. It was complete And
Mine was
or
like some security thing that I had set up on like I guess I had at the time a savings account and a checking account, and you had like the overdraft protection.
Mhm.
And at the time they were charging you to have the extra account, and then to have every time you had whatever. I guess I was overdrafting back in the day because it owed me a pretty check.
But
But
that's the point,
anyway,
like that, we're all risking something. Like even like
yeah.
putting your money into a bank like Wells Fargo, you're risking your money with Wells Fargo.
Yeah, because I feel
Yeah.
bad for everybody that's part of the SVB whatever bank account, because it was like even people that had small business with Etsy are affected by it.
Dang.
Yeah. And I was just going back to poker. I don't know if you knew that, like they call it Black Friday, which is about 10 years ago, where they said they outlawed playing online poker in the United States. And so all those people that were online could, like, there was a million people, Americans, that had money on it, and the DOJ just took the money.
Do you remember Bitcoin, or that was it Dogecoin or Bitcoin, where all those people, or even that, even just the
Yeah,
Bitcoin whole thing, if you lose your password,
yeah,
Yeah.
good luck. Yeah,
you
your money's gone. They just
it's
take
gone.
it.
Is that for
Well,
both all of it? Is that all the coins or just
Well,
like
well,
Bitcoin?
I'm not
it's not
assuming they gone,
gone.
but
It's
yeah.
just it's
It said it's
so
hard to get back if you can't ever recover your password.
because it's locked down to your device. So a lot of people, which is stupid to me, this is why everybody should take a security class. Everybody
Okay,
should take
please
a
talk to me
security
because
class.
my husband just got Bitcoin. So what do you mean
Everybody should
to
take
your
a security
device?
class.
He
So
said go take security
don't
class.
lock. So a lot of people lock their stuff down to like their smartphones. So
Okay.
the app and everything was locked down to just their one device. They kept their password on their phone. They didn't have it any other place. Like they didn't have it in this like encryption app, just to make sure that even if they did lose their smartphone with all their passwords in there, they still have the password somewhere else. So the bitcoins aren't necessarily locked into your particular device itself. It's held it's in a cloud computer somewhere. The problem is the encryption comes through your phone, but you can still recover that account if you lose that phone from a different account. You just got to have a password. It's like the one guy, I think it was in California. He lost like $50 million.
That's the one I was referring to.
And dude
Yeah.
was climbing through like the junkyard.
The junkyard trying to
Yeah,
find his
trying to find his
laptop
phone.
because, yeah, or his
If he had
phone.
his
Yeah.
password written down, he could have recovered his stuff. But people don't think about that. Nobody thinks about two-factor authentication. Nobody thinks about password protection, keeping your stuff encrypted. Nobody thinks about any of those things. It's like, I'm just gonna write this password down somewhere, and I know it's whatever it is. I'll remember it until you get
Yeah.
older, and then you start
That's
forgetting.
a lie because I just had to reset all my Apple iCloud shit because I got they the kids got me this so they could walkie-talkie me
Yeah,
Mhm.
an Apple Watch,
yeah,
and I had to set it up and pair it this morning.
yeah.
And apparently I didn't know my Apple password or whatever, iPhone thing, whatever. But so now I have multiple devices. So
Uh-huh.
luckily I got to authenticate it on another one,
Oh.
but still I didn't remember what my passwords were. And even if it's something that I remembered, I still had to change it.
I mean, but
But
that's the beauty of Apple, though. So Apple, I mean, no, Google does it now too. Android does it now. Well, Samsung does it, and Google does it with its Pixel phones. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
those are
Apple's the king. Apple's the best when it comes
yes.
to
well,
security.
I'm
So
learning Apple is they are
Yeah.
they are the
when
shit,
it comes
dude.
to
Like
authentication, even if you do have a password on the account, like it's form of like making sure that you're okay to use it. It'll ping
mhm.
another device that you have on that same network
It
or that
did,
your
it
account
did.
is signed into, and you
Hmm.
accept it, and then they give you the password to put
It
on the
was
other
doing that.
device.
Yep, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. You're so smart. Ooh, you're so
So
smart.
it's, I mean, IT baby, 20 plus years IT baby, 20 plus years. I'm not new to these streets,
Oh,
but
well, I'm new to the streets.
it's yeah. I mean, even with that though, I don't think that yeah, we got to start winding down too. But
Sorry.
no, not you. I think well, people risk it all when they go to different devices. But yeah, even if you're doing Bitcoin and stuff, that's a risk in itself. Unless you were an early adopter. Like if I hate that I was not an early adopter when I first heard about it. That
Hmm.
was very stupid of me because I wouldn't be working right now. But yeah, even for those listening, sidebar, yeah, don't just keep all your passwords on one device. Keep your stuff in the application.
And
That's
our next talk, can we please talk about Bitcoin? Do you know more about that?
I and I actually know some people that actually codes in that. So yeah, I can bring them on.
Yeah, I'd like to learn some more because we just got into it. And like you said, I was one of those people that wanted to do it a long time ago but the fear of risk, what I was going to risk, how much do you want to put in? Just like any investment or stock, With Cash App, you can make increments like $5 or whatever.
Right.
So I think my husband's like playing with like a few hundred here and there, but I don't know much about it. He's just playing with it. So if you had some to educate people like myself and the rest of your followers who don't know, I mean, I'd greatly appreciate it.
You have to look at what you investing in, like who's starting the bit, like where's the Bitcoin coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would say, to me, what I would tell people to do, if you
What do you mean where
have,
Bitcoin's coming from? Like there's like stock, like there's names of stocks, like you buy stocks. What do you mean? Or I thought it was just like the name Bitcoin and you bought Bitcoin.
no,
It is like a currency that's
yeah,
accepted, right? And it's a matter of like the more people accept it, the more value it has. And if people stop accepting it, it's no longer a viable currency.
Who
Right?
accepts it
That's the case of
nowadays?
almost everybody's accepting it nowadays. So that was a running joke when they first because Bitcoin was, I don't even know if you're under here. So we're not even talking about the topic no more.
Yeah, it's a risk. No, Bitcoin is a risk. It's a
Right.
huge risk.
But
It's like
so do
it's
you
not something
understand
we
where
know about like
Bitcoin
stocks.
started from?
Yes, I do. I remember where it started from. But it was all illegal stuff, right? So they can
Yeah.
hide money online because it was like some backstreet black
Right.
market stuff.
Right.
Okay.
So the encryption, what is the encryption to Bitcoin?
I don't know enough about it. Maybe we should that'll
That's
be
why I
good.
asked.
Yeah, that'll be good for next week.
Yeah, that's why I asked. That's why it's a big risk. That's why I was asking because we're talking about money and risking money. People are risking money so much right now in Bitcoin and making millions. Some are millionaires and
Yeah.
some don't know much about it, but if they knew a little bit more. But that's why I say, where did it come from? I know where it originated, and I know there was problems trying to make it official and legal. And then the stories like the guy, digging in the dump for his laptop or phone, trying to get his password because he was told that's the only way you can recover your millions of dollars that you had.
Yeah,
So I was
because
like,
he
who's
didn't have, yes and no. Yeah, he didn't have he didn't have his hash key, and he didn't have like his password for where it stored, because all, like I said, it's all stored in a cloud server somewhere. And the beauty behind Bitcoin is, like, if there's only one Bitcoin, like you can make a ton of different dollars with a different serial number, but you can only have one Bitcoin. There's only one Bitcoin. So that's why people start adopting it, because once you have it, you have it. Like, there's no losing it. Only thing you got to do is make sure you keep, your device. Now, people have been getting robbed and been asked to compromise and give up their passwords and stuff, and those people have been withdrawn out of their account, and or they get subjected to an attack. But I mean, there is a risk. There's a risk when it comes to with any kind of stock, right? So even if with that fear behind it, and people was afraid of it wasn't going to go anywhere, but I was like, well, I mean, what really goes in? Because the same thing I said about Enron. So you invested in this, and Enron had a 40% of your 401k tied up into it, and then once Enron crashed, you pretty much lost almost all of your retirement. And or we had, the stock market, everything almost crashed. Or we had, what was it, the recession that took place in 2007, and then the same thing that happened in the pandemic. So
even
it's
the
like,
house market.
yeah, the housing market. So when that bursts, so it's like, everything, when it comes to investment, there's always a risk behind it. Now, of course, you can play the market if you know how to play the market, and you can start investing in other things, start collecting compound interest off of it. But that's a totally different subject that I'm not going to nerd out about right now.
I will say it's all legalized gambling. And why
It's
not
very much so.
just
Very
bet
much
on the
so.
Cowboys?
My whole thing, while I was getting ready to say
I
earlier,
never make any money.
yeah, Cowboys. I wouldn't bet nothing on Cowboys or freaking Falcons. So, they're gonna
cover the spread.
they'll win up until like playoffs, and then they'll lose.
Just cover the spread. That's all I'm looking for, man.
Yeah.
Just the spread.
What's up?
I said just cover the spread.
Kind of just gambling, and just whether you you want to put your money in Enron or Disney or Netflix.
Sorry.
Hey man, if you was ready to go, all you do is say you was ready to go.
No. I hit a button. I told you that I was on my phone, and
Yeah.
I was trying to hit the what is it called? Disregard, and I think I hung up on you. Well, I did hang up on you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah. It wasn't no when you did hang up.
No, but I came straight back. I missed you guys.
So you came back. We got to let you go too.
Yeah.
So you can enjoy your birthday. That's why we're gonna let you go.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, first of all, hey, I appreciate you letting me come on again with you guys this week. Jersey, it's always this past time and today has been such a pleasure. But if you guys would look me up on Instagram and TikTok, Marlena Vision, just kind of connect with me there, kind of see what I'm doing. Listen to the other podcasts that I'm on, talk about my life story. I am coming out with a book soon. I'm kind of putting it out there softly, and with my story on Flat Tire Andy's podcast, tell my life story there. So if you want to look me up on TikTok and Instagram, follow along there and have some laughs about the Cowboys, I'd greatly appreciate you.
Laughing about the Cowboys. Got a positive thought? Something that you want to leave people?
As always, just always be authentically you. There's a risk that we take every day in life. We're adults to know what risks are going to be the good ones and which ones would potentially end up bad. So be cautious of the risk that you're taking and how it's going to benefit you in life, because each risk that you take today will, in fact, show in our future. That's not the word I was looking for, but it's going to, you know what I'm sure you guys catch my drift here. Yeah. Anything that you do, all the risks you take now, definitely is going to affect your future. So just be cautious and wary of that. And like I said, always be you. And, we're still them boys.
And that's why the Cowboys made her lose her train of thought. So they are not still those boys.
We are still them boys, my guy.
Boys.
Dude, let me, for just because I'm so proud of you, check out my new Crocs.
This mug is cowboyed all the way out.
Yeah, it is. So for the viewers out there, yes, I have, I went total Croc. And I don't even know what these little pins are called, but I did the Visco Girl thing.
I need to give me some Crocs. I heard Crocs are really comfortable.
They are.
Starting to get old man feet. Terrible. John, before I even get started on my feet still hurt. John.
Well, I'll say, we're talking about risk, and I know most people are risk averse. I don't know if you knew about. There's an experiment where, if you offer someone on the street $20, or the option to flip a coin and you get 200. It's amazing. Most people will take $20, and they should be taking the 200 or taking the chance at 200. So it's like kind of what Marlena was saying. Just be aware of the risk, and actually there is value to risking. It's actually sometimes the stuff that's risky is actually the safest and the smart place to go. So I'll just kind of go that way. And as always, I'm always like, pro thinker. Keep thinking for yourself and try to come up to your own conclusions. And don't forget to be awesome.
Yeah, so thank y'all for tuning in. Marlena pretty much probably she's gonna be a regular, so y'all can welcome Marlena for being a regular on the show. But thank y'all for listening as always. I love all my the ones that's just been here, the rock solid ones since the beginning. Thank y'all for tuning in. I don't know when I'm going to plan the next in-person studio audience show, because I start really assessing the risk in that. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to actually really start pushing that, because that really it has a cost associated with it. But there, I will get back to it, because I'm trying to get investors now, for those listening, just to build out my own personal studio. So, y'all can always donate, because you can donate, on all the streaming platforms, especially on Anchor and Spotify. So make sure you check out a new app. Watch us live there. Follow me on ptgtv.online to look at all the old content and stuff, and then you can also see where you can make donations and whatnot. And one thing I do want to leave everybody with is replace all of your negative thoughts out with positive ones. So even when it comes to risk, make sure the risk that you're taking is one that you're really going to gain something out of it. Because I find the best thing that you can gain in life is life experience, and good life experience. So I like to say live, love, laugh, because I like to say I live for the moment and laugh for the things that you have no control over, because I like to accept risk, because to me, I enjoy the high and I enjoy the experience that I get out of it, regardless if it's good or bad, because I find that you can find good things even in the bad stuff. So thank y'all for tuning in again. I will see y'all next week. Same time, same bat channel. Love you all. Peace out.
Peace and chicken grease.
Speaking like I mean it, what's inside.